All right. Good morning, everybody. We're ready to get started now. So if I can get everybody's attention in here. Little fair reminder, cell phones should be put away during class, and make sure you are, whenever a facilitator or teacher or whatever is talking to you, take your earbuds out. So shouldn't have earbuds in during the beginning of class or cell phones out at all, so put those away. So let's look at kind of do an overview of what we're doing today, like we do every day, and then we'll get started. So number one, I told you all I would give you all some time today to make sure you have finished your scientific revolution thinker research assignment. Let's take a look at that really quick, just as a reminder on what we're doing. You all chose one of the following scientific revolution thinkers. Scientific revolution lasted between the 1500s basically into the mid 1700s. Okay. Someone's not muted out there. Let's get everybody muted real quick. Sorry. Oh, good. Okay. I got muted. Okay. But the scientific revolution spanned hundreds of years. Okay. And we had many, many thinkers challenging the way we looked at the world, everything from medicine to the stars. Okay. And mathematics and, our place in the world. All right. How we look at who we are and how we're here. Now, that laid the groundwork for challenging the way we looked at governments, because if our systems of science were incorrect, maybe our systems of governance were incorrect. And that's why the scientific revolution and enlightenment go well together. So today we're going to continue looking at the scientific revolutionary thinkers. And you chose one of these five, and then you went out and looked for a picture, talk about their life, their career, major in discoveries, impact of their discoveries, put together works cited for that. And I'm going to give you about 20 minutes to finish that, okay? At the end of that 20 minutes, and this is for people at home and people here. At the end of that 20 minutes, I'm going to put you into groups, and you're going to share your papers with one another. You're going to share your research, okay? So if you're at home on the Google Meet, I'll put you into groups on the Google Meet and breakout rooms. And in those breakout rooms, you'll take turns sharing your screen and just take a few minutes each to kind of share your ideas, okay? And I'll probably put groups in this class together so you can share with more people. And as long as we're away, not together for more than 15 minutes, we should be fine, okay? And honestly, we'll probably only be together for, half that time, if even half that time. So you're getting prepared for sharing out. And I will be popping in to the Google Meet into the breakout rooms and assessing your collaboration. As long as you all are sharing and doing what you're supposed to be doing, we'll be good, okay? And at the end of that time, we'll kind of talk about how we did as a presentations, okay? So you do not have to share. If you're at home, you do not have to unmute your video, okay? I'm not going to make you do that. All you have to do is share your screen, share that document, and the way you do that, and I'll show you here, on a Google Meet, you should know how to do this, but in the bottom right, there's a little present your screen. You'll click on that, and it'll give your options and it'll actually say, like, share your screen. So you share your screen, and you don't have to unmute your face, but you do have to unmute your voice, and you'll just talk about your people. And, take about a minute or two just to kind of go over their lives and their major discoveries. And you're going to find out very quickly you all have very similar people. And that they all had impacts on the world. So just a little bit of a collaborative, trying to do a little bit more of that now that we're settling into this even better in the second semester. So I will be going around and looking for the fact that you all are communicating well and you're taking turns. And when I pop in, there's no just awkward silence sitting there. So, all right, great. Let's keep going over what we're going to be doing today. So once we go over that, which will probably take about 30 minutes or so, and this is yesterday's, I don't know why I popped yesterday's. we are going to participate in the Scientific Revolution Thinkers discussion. After that, we're going to do the Enlightenment Workshop, where we're going to take some notes. It's a short, I think it's only 7 slides, and we're going to talk about some enlightened thinkers, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you all no reading time at the end of class. Okay, and I did put the notes for contractions and possessions on here, where you have all of the some of y'all were asking where those were, and I usually upload those on Tuesday, but it has all of the rules together for that. I also had a student request that I do a mini workshop on, because they were struggling on other, it keeps wanting to go to yesterday's agenda for some reason. Go to today's. There you go. And then I did a workshop. This is a video on others, and how that works, because that can be a little confusing. So I did a workshop on that if you need help with that section. And if you need help with any of those sections, let me know, okay? So right now, I'm going to let you all take about 20 minutes to finish your Scientific Revolutionary Thinkers research assignment. If you're done with that, you can work on no red ink. If you finish with that, you can start taking the notes. If you're done with notes, whenever you're done with notes, you can watch news or read. So everyone has something they should be working on, something they're doing. So if you're at home, don't leave the Google Meet yet. We're going to just pause, let you work, and then we're going to come back together, okay? All right. But hang in there, because we're going to be doing the breakout rooms in a little bit. All right, so that was 20 minutes. Let me cast my screen back up here. There it is. Okay, so how this is going to work is the students in here, the front row here, the group of front row, you're going to kind of turn with your computer and turn it around. You're not going to go all the way up to the table so you can keep the 6 feet, but you're going to be over there. You're going to turn and show your screen to one another, and you're going to just take turns going around. Miss Newton will be in here, and she's going around looking for collaboration. Now, let's talk about what collaboration looks like. It's both speaking and listening, okay? So speaking looks like you're making eye contact with the groups. You're talking loud enough that they can hear you, but not so loud that the whole room is just can't hear anything. So we got to find that medium. And I know we have masks on, so we're gonna do our best today. Speaking also is, the fact that you're fulfilling the length of time, you're sharing everything. Now, you might find that people in your group chose the same person. That's okay. You're still going to share the information, because 1, you might have found different information, or 2, it's not bad to hear the information again if it's the same, to better learn, okay? Now, the other side of that is listening. Listening looks like eye contact. You're not playing with your phone. You don't have your computer up. So when someone else is presenting, and this is in the room, you'll kind of close your light. You don't have to close it all the way and shut it off, but you're going to kind of close your laptop and let them speak, okay? You don't have earbuds in. You're looking at them. You're quiet, okay? You're not interrupting, okay? Now, each person's going to get about 2 minutes, okay? If someone gets to the end and, you're just sitting there, you can go on to the next person, but don't rush it, okay? Because we should take about 6 to 10 minutes to do this, okay? Depending on how many in your group. At home, you are going to have someone volunteer or someone go first. You're going to share your screen. You do not have to unmute your face. You can, but you do have to unmute your voice, and I expect you to be talking. I'll be popping in, okay? And obviously the other group members are just listening and being quiet. Now, this is key. When you are finished with your meeting, with your collaboration, you're going to go and and you can refresh your screen if you can't see this on your agenda. I just added it. I meant to add it for class, but forgot and thought about it during class. I thought we should do this. You're going to do the scientific revolution collaborative reflection. Okay, so let's take a look at that together so you can be thinking about that while you're in there. It's very simple. So it says, write the names of the people in your group, including yourself. Okay, so if I was in a group with Miss Newton, I'd write John Richard and Diana Newton. Okay, and then I would put next to that and grade myself and my group member or group members. Next to their name, I would put a 1 through 5, a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And this is the grading scale. 1 means they did not share. Okay? I didn't hear from them. Right? They wouldn't. If you're at home, they didn't unmute. They didn't share their screen. You tried to get a hold of them. You heard nothing. Okay? You give them a 1. You give them a 2 if they shared their screen, but you didn't hear them speak. Okay? And that might have been technical issues or something like that, but they get a 2. Okay? And if you're having technical issues at home, you need to email me because I'm going to be grading off of this and from what I see. Number 3, they shared and they spoke, but they gave very little information. It was only like 20, 30 seconds of information, and they, didn't have a lot, and they clearly didn't provide much for the group. Number 4, they shared, spoke, and did a good job. Okay, they did a good job. They gave information. It wasn't great, but they did everything they were supposed to do. And then 5 is they shared, they spoke, and then they did a great job sharing. Okay, they covered everything really well. Took up the whole 2 minutes. Gave good information, and you learned a little bit. Okay, so you're just going to put the names and so on and so forth. Okay, so you might need to take a minute at the very beginning and go into this assignment into the Dropbox and make note of who's in your group. Okay, including yourself. Okay, so you all in here know who's in your group because they're going to turn around and be in there. In just a second, you all at home will know. Okay, any questions before we get started from in the class or at home? I got a message on here. Question? Yep, you just share what you have. Yep. Okay, any questions at home? Make sure I can hear y'all. Yep. Okay, I don't hear any questions. So I'm going to open up the rooms at home. I'm going to pause my recording because I can't show you all's faces.
It won't let us submit the collaboration thing.
It won't let you submit it won't let you submit it. Hit refresh and see if it'll let you submit then. But refreshing work for y'all? Okay, so they're saying in the class refresh the collaboration thing and it will work. Okay, so right now, go and do that collaboration. Okay, go to the agenda, click on it, write the names of the people in your group because you submitting this is how I know that you participated today. So if you don't submit this, I didn't go down and write down everyone's name that participated because you're going to tell me you participated, okay? And you're going to grade your group members. This should take probably 45 seconds because you're just going to write a name and, they either do well or do bad, okay? And popping through the Google Meet breakout rooms, y'all did a really good job, okay? I was, every room I popped in, you guys were either figuring out how it works or presenting. And Miss Newton said when I walked back in, you all did a good job in here. So that is what I would be doing on a normal year, much more. Like we're collaborating, we're talking, we're sharing. So I'd love to keep doing that more often. So we'll try to do that. So take a moment to fill out that Scientific Revolution Collaborative Reflection and hit submit. You can search and you can see it right here, Enlightenment PowerPoint. So that's an easy way to do it too.
Are we doing notes?
All right. Yes. Sorry, I was getting the class to submit that. If you have submitted that, yes, we're going to do a short note-taking. And there is a note-taking guide available under number 3, note-taking guide. So click on that, and that will take you to this document that you can take some notes in, make this a little bit more efficient, a little easier on you to take those notes. As you all open that up. Now, you all that are opening that up, you'll need to hit File, Make a Copy. So file, make a copy, and that'll make your own copy of the notes. So you hit file, make a copy right here, and that will make your own notes. For you all in the room, you all have a hard copy. So, because you're here today. Yes, Leonard, do you have a question? You raised your hand in the Echo or in the Google Meet. Okay,
sorry, I accidentally clicked that.
That's okay. Just make sure you didn't have a question. Okay, so I've got the PowerPoint up right here. Let's take a look at it. So we're going to be talking about the Enlightenment today, and it's also known as the Age of Reason. I need to share this with the class. It is known as the Age of Reason. And the reason it is called the Age of Reason is because people began looking at how we as a society should function and how our government should function. Okay? And they think their argument was to function with reason. And these thinkers that we have on here, Hobbes, Montesquieu, Locke, Rousseau, Lockhart, these thinkers are the thinkers that laid the background, the foundation for the United States. Okay? So, big thinkers here. The first thing I want you to do is take 1 minute. In my group, some people in here have already been doing this. I want you to write down in your notes, in that first top section, I want you to write down, what would society look like without government? So I'm going to give you just a second to write that down. All right, so I want to hear from you. What do you think would happen if there was no government? So someone at home, speak up. And so I'm going to let you go first. Who can tell me what they think would happen if there was no government?
It would be crazy because there would be no rules.
Okay, so was that Leonard?
Yeah.
Leonard says it would be chaos because there's no rules, there's no law. Okay? Anyone else have a thought? How about someone in the room? Jackson.
I think it would be crazy, but I think that everyone would eventually get to the point where
Okay, Jackson says at first it would be chaos, but later we would begin to kind of have some control because some people would gain power. So maybe there would be like a reset and you'd eventually have some form of government form again.
I was thinking like the Vikings.
So like a Viking, more tribalistic, smaller groups with like chiefdoms and things like that. Yeah, interesting. Anybody else? Yeah.
I said it would be conflict from time to time, but would be fine overall.
Okay.
As a mostly peace, because what I'm thinking of is mostly like a socialist sort of government, because the fact that modern day society, there's people who want to kill everyone, and there's people who want to save it.
So Calvin says that things wouldn't be that bad because there's good people in the world. There's people that do want to help, and we would almost reach this. He used this word socialism, which we'll learn about that later in this class. But this idea that everyone would come together and we'd share, while there'd be some bad people, but mostly people would be good. Okay? Anybody agree, disagree with that? We've heard two people say chaos. Anybody else? Hope. Hope, right? Yeah. Okay, you think it would be not as chaotic. It actually could be peaceful. Okay, yeah. So, you got another peaceful. Anybody else? Anybody else at home want to share?
Depends on who's forward. We're just going to make it to school a lot. And then
So, William, it's really hard to hear you for some reason. But I heard you say it depends on basically who becomes in charge. Is that what you said? Sorry, William, I can't hear you, but essentially, huh?
He typed yes.
Oh, he's typed yeah. Okay, so it depends on who comes in charge. So it depends on who grabs power first. If there is no government, it depends on who's in power. Is it a good person, a bad person? So this foundationally, you all are right on the hitting the head on with the hammer, on the nail, whatever you wanted that saying is. You're nailing it because two of the greatest philosophers known to us Locke and Hobbes had this debate. Would it be chaos or would it be peaceful? Would it be fine? Would everyone be okay? And let's look at these two perspectives of what these philosophers thought and how they looked at government. So our first is Thomas Hobbes. Okay, Hobbes was on the side of chaos. He thought that without government, there would be chaos. Okay, Hobbes believed that people are naturally selfish, cruel, and greedy. That deep down, if we have a chance to take something, we'll take it. If we have a chance to steal something, we'll steal it. If we have a chance to hurt someone, if it benefits us, we'll do it because we're selfish, cruel, greedy. Okay? He published a book called Leviathan. Okay? And if you don't know what a Leviathan is, it's this giant monster beast in the ocean. Okay? And what he talked about was within each person, there was this Leviathan, this desire or this drive that people are restless and desire for power. We constantly are fighting for power, okay? This restless desire for power. Without laws, people would always be in conflict. People would always be fighting, okay? That laws are the only thing that is keeping peace in our world, okay? That we would constantly be at war, constantly hurting and killing one another. Calvin.
It's actually mainly psychological, and where how you tell a child no, the more they want to do it.
Okay, yeah. There's almost this drive that when you take away something from someone, that they want it even more. There's this almost desire for that power to have just because you can't have it. So that's an interesting outlook. He called this the state of nature. This idea that humans in the state of nature, no government, life would be nasty, brutish, and short, chaotic. So it's like the animal kingdom, okay, where you have a jungle where they are constantly murdering and killing one another to be able to survive, okay? Someone had a comment at home?
Can you repeat that, please? In such a state of nature, life would be what?
Nasty, brutish, and short. Nasty, brutish, and short. So chaotic. It would be.
I'm going to try to type these things in the chat so the kids can listen.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. No problem.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
where's the PowerPoint at
The
that we can take the notes?
Yeah, so the PowerPoint, I've got it shared on the Google Meet, but it is also, if you go down to the project, I'll tell you what, I will put the PowerPoint into the agenda. Give me just a second.
Okay.
It's in the folder, but it'll be easier for you to find it here. All right, if you refresh the agenda, it is available. And if you did not click on the note-taking guide, there is a note-taking guide there that will make this much more efficient and easy for you to organize your notes. I put blanks in there so you can follow along with that. And everyone can see the PowerPoint in the Google Meet too, right? I've shared that.
No.
Okay, sorry. That's what we were missing. My bad. There we go. Now it's in the Google Meet. Sorry about that. I don't know why it stopped sharing my screen. I guess because we went to breakout rooms, it stopped sharing my screen. Sorry about that. There we go. That should help everybody out. Okay. So, going through what you should have in your notes, Hobbes believed people are naturally selfish, cruel, and greedy. In 1651, he published a book called Leviathan. In his book, he wrote that people are driven by a restless desire for power, right here. Without laws, people would always be in conflict, fighting, like in nature, like the animals who fight in nature. In such a state of nature, life would be nasty, brutish, and short. So his idea, I'm going to bold that, because this is what you really need to know and need to take away from this, is that governments were created to protect the people, okay? And protect them from themselves, okay? From their own selfishness, okay? So people don't know how to take care of themselves. We are not smart enough. We are not capable enough to take care of ourselves. So that government is meant to protect us from ourselves. And he believed that the best form of government was an absolute monarchy. How much power did the people have in an absolute monarchy? 0. So Hobbes was all for absolute monarchies. So did we take, in the forming of our country, did we take a lot of ideas from Thomas Hobbes? No, not really, okay? Now, we did pay attention to the fact that deep down, humans can be nasty, brutish, terrible, selfish, power hungry. We know that. So how do we protect against that as the part that we absorbed, okay? All right, let's go on to Locke. So Locke believed the opposite. So you all that had some hope, you're Lockeans, okay? You all that thought it would just be complete chaos, you're Hobbists. And if you thought there's hope, there's possibility, without government, you're a Lockean, okay? And some of y'all might be in the middle. So Locke believed the purpose of government was to protect people's natural rights, okay? So he thought that the purpose of the government wasn't to protect us from ourselves, but to protect our natural rights, okay? And he believed that government should protect our natural rights, which are life, liberty, and property. Now, have you ever heard that before?
No.
You've never heard life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is how it says it in our Declaration of Independence, okay? So this is something that should be familiar in the United States. A little bit worded, a little bit different. So life, liberty, and property, and against the injuries and attempts of other men. So it's not to protect ourselves from our own selfishness. It's to protect us from each other, okay? That might want to hurt us, okay? Because he believed that humans deep down wanted to come together, protect one another, and have purpose and be able to support one another, okay? So his idea wasn't to have an absolute monarchy. His was another direction. He believed the true basis of government was a social contract, okay? The true basis of government was a social contract between people and their government, okay? And social contract is a big key word that we need to remember. So in your notes, you might even put a star next to social contract. And essentially that contract was, if the government didn't respect the people's rights, that government should be overthrown. The people should have the power to control what's going on in their government. And if they don't agree with that government, we should be able to overthrow that. And it is clearly stated in our founding documents, in the Declaration of Independence, in the Constitution, that the people should have the power and that a government should fear its peoples. And the people should be able to overthrow that government. And be able to stop that government from having too much power. Be in the people's hands. Now, they did not say how that overthrow should happen. They didn't say militarily. They didn't say Should it be through a vote? It didn't say should it be what it should be through. Okay, so that's not clearly defined, but they should have the power to end the corruption of their government, is this idea. Okay, so kind of Locke and Hobbes on different sides of one another. Locke kind of passes his eyes down to, or his ideas, not his eyes, his ideas down to Jacques Rousseau. He also believed in this idea of the social contract, okay? That the true basis of government was a social contract between the people and their government. So we kind of have this repeated in our notes. There's a social contract between the people and their government. And if the government didn't respect the people's rights, it could be overthrown. Now, Rousseau added to this idea, okay, that if the government didn't respect the people's rights, it could be overthrown. But he adds to this idea, and we flip over a paper, it's on the back. In exchange for protection from the government, the people gave the government power to rule on their behalf. We give up some of our rights, okay? We give up some of our rights and freedoms to be able to give the government the power to rule on our behalf. So can I walk into President Biden's office and tell him as a citizen that this is what I want him to do and to do it right now? No. I give up that right. I'm not allowed to walk into his office and break into his office and demand this. Okay? Am I allowed to walk over to Calvin and take his laptop from him and push him over? Am I allowed to do that? No. No, of course not. I can, but it's not allowed. So I give up my freedoms to do what I want so that the government can protect us, okay, and to rule on our behalf. So that is the consent of the governed. Give up a little bit of our rights or freedoms to protect the rights of all, okay? And the lasting impact of this is the idea that government should be overthrown if it fails to respect people's rights had a wide influence on the United States. So Locke and Rousseau's ideas of social contract and the consent of government, the balance between the powers of the government and the freedoms of the people, is what we have. And in what way can we overthrow our government? If we do not agree with our leader, what power do we have to stop that leader in the United States? Alan. Okay, we can use our governmental powers and we can impeach the president, or we can remove a senator, impeach a senator or something like that. But what, as an individual, what can I do, Jackson? Vote. That is what they end up putting into, and we'll see republicanism, that opportunity to vote, to be key in that balance. Yes.
We can also protest.
We can protest. Yes. We can protest. We can vote. We can march. Is any event that recently happened popping up in your head?
Yeah.
What event? We can talk about it.
The Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so the Black Lives Matter movement. What did someone say at home?
The Black Lives Matter
Yes,
protest.
so the Black Lives Matters protest that recently has gotten a lot of attention, and their movement to make things happen and change in our government. Lucas, January 6th, there were people that marched on Capitol Hill, broke into the Capitol building, and we're not debating whether that was right or wrong, but they were trying to use what they believed was this ability to maybe stop the government. Okay, I don't know if everyone was trying to do that or what was going on. It's hard to tell, and there's still a debate on that. But that pops into my head as we talk about this. Okay, now clearly, was that the right path? No, obviously. Okay, as we look at what happened there. Okay, yes.
Pretty interesting fact about that. Whenever they went in there, they got like a buffalo that hit on. Which is not good. Well, in like 17 something, there was one happened at that time, and he had a buffalo.
Yeah, so there's kind of a connection to the history and maybe a plan there. Okay. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So we got to pay attention. This is part of what's happening in our society right now. All right, let's keep going. So Montesquieu continues this thought process, and he writes a book called The Spirit of Laws in 1748. In this book, he described how governments should be organized, okay? And we build off of this idea. His idea was the separation of powers. By dividing different powers among more than one branch of government, no one group could grow too powerful, okay? So this separation of powers. In your notes, it says, by dividing different powers among more than one group or one branch of government, no group in the government could grow too strong. And this is why we have a separation of powers, okay? The president does not make laws, but the president can veto laws, okay? The legislative branch makes laws, but the Supreme Court can rule on those laws and verify if those laws are constitutional and are allowed within our government. Okay, so there's checks between the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. He believed in the idea of republicanism. And we talked about republicanism. It's basically that we have representatives, a republic. The idea that countries' leaders should be chosen by the citizens in a general election. So that is where our power comes in and our ability to say we do not like who is running the show, who's in power, and you go out and vote. And you can change that. That happened in 2016, and that happened in 2020. Okay, we had major shifts in the type of power that we had. Okay, we went from Obama, who had very specific ideas, to Trump, who had very specific ideas, back to Biden. And we kind of see this bouncing back and forth. Now, some people in our society would argue that that's been very tumultuous and hard and very tragic for our society, while others would argue that that is the beauty of the United States. The fact that the citizens' voices are heard and the moving back and forth are bringing us on this path that meets us in the middle. Okay? Sounds like a good essay we could write. I see. Yeah, I see a few heads. No, okay. Maybe not. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We only got a couple more, and I know we're getting close to the end of class, so I'll add some no reading time on Thursday to make sure you have plenty of time before the quiz. I know I promised more time, but I want to get through these notes before we end the class. Still have 10 minutes. So, Mary Wollstonecraft, what a great name, Wollstonecraft, was an English writer in 1792, and she argued that women deserved the same rights and opportunities as men. Okay? Because in this time, women did not have the same rights afforded to them. Okay, guys, we have 10 minutes in class. Shouldn't be packing up. 10 minutes still. Seeing a lot of packing up. It's rude. Please don't do that right now. She argued that they should have the same rights and opportunities as men. Wollstonecraft believed that education was key for women wanting equality and freedom. So this goes all the way back to that humanism idea back in the Renaissance, in which they believed that with knowledge came power. Okay, and she believed that with women having this power, they would be able to do great things. Okay, and she would eventually inspire later leaders of women's movements in the United States. Okay, it would not be for another 200 years, or no, 200, 100, a little over 100 years before we saw a change for women in the United States and actually getting the right to vote. So she would be kind of laying the foundation for this movement. And as we've talked about again and again and again, history is a series of connected events like dominoes that led up to where we are today. And we can see all of these thinkers had a major influence on the United States. And in 1776, the United States declared independence from Great Britain. Okay, and we embraced the ideas set forth by these Enlightenment thinkers: separation of powers, social contract, individual rights, human rights, natural rights. Okay, the U.S. Constitution, which would be written a decade later, 1787, embraced the ideas of natural rights, social contract, consent of the governed, and separation of powers, and is what we see today as we have our Constitution, and has been the same for 200 plus years. Okay? And those foundations have been the same. Obviously, it's been amended and changed throughout the years, but it has been the same. We still, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution that was written in 1787 is still the laws that we hold hundreds of years later, which in your U.S. government class will talk about the debate on whether we should still be following those rules that are hundreds of years old. All right, so that finishes our notes. I'm going to let you all at home finish